y equals 3. And 4x plus 4y equals 8. All right, now, do we have a variable solved? We have an equation that's solved for a variable? No. But when we do not have an equation solved for a variable, we look for the variable with a coefficient of what? 1. Do we have that?
Yes.
What is it?
Y.
The y in the top equation. So we're going to solve for this y. I'm going to move 2x over. Okay? So my new system is y equals negative 2x plus 3. Bottom one stays the same. 4x plus 4y equals 8. Agree? Now, take what's your y equals, plug it in for y. Alright? So, we have 4x plus 4 times negative 2x plus 3, all that equals 8. We have a coefficient on the y, so we distribute whatever the coefficient is. We have 4x minus 8x plus 12 equals 8. 4x and 8x, like terms, correct? They combine, you got a negative 4x plus 12 equals 8. Move the 12 over. You have negative 4x equals negative 4. So x equals what? 1. Now, with that x, once we solve for that x, take this x, plug it in this equation. Why that one?
It's the one.
It's easier. It is easier. We already got y solved for. So now you have negative 2 times 1 plus 3. All that equals y. So y equals negative 2 plus 3. Or y equals 1. So your ordered pair, 1, 1. That makes sense? That's your ordered pair. Good so far? Copy it down if you don't have it. Everybody got it? Everybody copy it? Okay, go ahead. All right, what we say the next one was? 14? So they want 14? 16?
I got
14. All right, 14. Read it to me, JT.
Y equals negative 3x plus 4.
All right.
Negative 6x minus 2y equals negative 8.
Okay. With this one, we already have an equation solved for a variable, correct? Agree with that? So I can take whatever this y is, plug it directly into the y. agree?
Yes.
Alright. So, you got negative 6x minus 2 times whatever y is, which is negative 3x plus 4 equals negative 8. Distribute the negative 2. Alright? Distribute your negative 2. Make sure you distribute the negative 2. Some people miss it because they just distribute 2. So you have negative 6x plus 6x minus 8 equals negative 8. What happens here? Cancels. Negative 8 equals negative 8. Is that an identity? Yes. If it's an identity, that means we have infinite solutions. So, that's your answer. Infinite solutions. All right. You good with that one? Go ahead and copy it down if you do not have it. Y'all should be rested up. Get over here today. Feeling frisky. Even what we did, kept grinding.
Go work out this morning?
And we played basketball. We got here at 5. Lifted, played basketball at 6.
Who won?
All right. Everybody got 14 now? Who wants 16? All right, so read it to me. Hold on. Let me get my black marker out. You ready? I am.
X equals y minus 1. Negative x plus y equals negative 1.
Okay. We have an equation solved for a variable. Agree? So just plug it in. Plug it in. We solve for x. Now, you have negative y minus 1 plus y equals negative 1. Here's where you'll miss it if you don't put it in parentheses and distribute the negative 1. You have to distribute this negative 1. You got negative y plus 1 plus y equals negative 1. That negative y and that plus y will cancel each other out.
Oh, I got it.
You're left with 1 equals negative 1. Is that an identity?
No.
No, I mean it's close. You're close to an identity, but 1 doesn't equal negative. Right? So, there's no solution. All right? Does that make sense? Yes, no. If it doesn't, why? What do you need help with if it doesn't make sense? John, you shrug your shoulders. What do you need help with?
Most of everything, John.
Okay, well explain what you do know so we can figure out where we need to start.
I just don't get that, like, on this problem, some are like solved already, but then, like, you have to solve some to start plugging in all this stuff. How do you solve this?
How do you solve? Just algebra. Just like say, like with this one, we didn't have one that was solved for an equation. We didn't have one solved for a variable, right? So we have to figure out which variable we want to solve for before we do anything else. With this one, this y has a coefficient of positive 1. So that's the easiest one to solve for because it's a one-step equation. Okay? How would you move the 2x over? What's the sign on the 2x initially? Positive. So if the original sign is positive, we want to do the inverse or the opposite. So we'll subtract. Does that make sense? Now what is it? Now what does your equation say? You have y by itself because that 2x cancels, right? Those cancel, so you're only left with y, which is what you want. Now you get to this point, you know what y equals, so you can plug what y equals in for y. Does that make sense? I mean, if it don't, it's fine, just tell me, I'll figure out what it says. Okay, you do. 22, the next one. It's not hard, you just have a fraction. All right, 22. One reading.
Negative 5x plus 4y equals 20.
Okay.
10x minus 8y equals negative 40.
Okay, this one probably seems hard because we haven't seen one like this yet. We haven't seen a problem that looks like this, okay? What are our rules? Our rules are, we want to look for an equation that solves for a variable. We don't have that. Our next rule is, we want to look for an equation that has a variable with a coefficient of positive 1. We don't have that. If you don't have a variable with a coefficient of positive 1, you look for a variable with a coefficient of negative 1. Do we have that? No. So just pick one. If you don't have either one of those, pick one. Which one we want to solve for?
Negative 5 plus 4y
Okay. So
divide
we're
by
going to solve.
4.
We're going to solve for this negative, this x right here. Is that what we're saying? All right. So let's move this 4 over. Subtract 4y. Okay. So now we have negative 5x equals negative 4y plus 20. Agree? You probably had the same thing. You probably just had 20 minus 4y. Which is the same thing. I just put the variable first.
That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. It's just, you good now? So now, divide by negative 5. Cancels over here. So my new system becomes x equals 4/5 y
So why didn't you move the x over?
minus 4.
Why?
Why didn't I move the x over?
Like,
Because he's gonna solve for x.
Oh, you're solving for x?
I'm solving, that's what I'm solving for. I'm
Okay.
solving for that x. All right, now, the bottom one stays the same. 10x minus 8y equals negative 40. Okay, so this looks hard. Why does it look hard?
Because it's a fraction.
Because it's a fraction. Is it actually hard? No, but it looks hard because it's a fraction. We're going to deal with fractions a lot here. Because I cannot stand decimals.
I can't stand
So we're
either.
going to deal with fractions. All right, so I'm going to take everything that x equals, and I'm going to plug it in right here for this x. Okay? So I've got 10 times 4/5 y minus 4 minus 8y equals negative 40. Okay, when I go to distribute 10 times 4/5 y, let's just look at this over here. We're looking at this part right here. We distribute these two.
We need to put a 1 in between those.
You can. I mean, yeah, that's fine. You know, I know if I've got 10 as a fraction, I'm putting it 10 over 1. When I multiply that by 4/5, okay, what can cancel? You can cross cancel. The 5 and the 10 will simplify. Right? You can reduce that. That's going to become 1. That's going to become 2. Correct? 10 divided by 5 is 2. So your denominator 5 becomes 1. Your numerator 10 becomes 2. 2 times 4 is 8. So guess what this over here equals? 8y. So we've got, we distribute 8y, distribute again, minus 40, minus 8y, equals negative 40. 8y minus 8y, what happens? They cancel. Okay. Negative 40 have an identity, infinite solution. Questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, fears, anxieties? Got any, John? But day one, when you say your name was John, you think I'm going to call you that, did you?
No,
I know.
but hey.
Hey, we roll with it now. You're going to be called John the rest of your life. You know. You know, wish you did. I'm in.
Gingerbread. I might answer to that too.
What?
He didn't believe in
I'm
her.
not looking up. Gingerbread. What's that?
I had a great man named Ober.
Coach. Coach.
Let's go.
Coach.
I'm gingerbread. I'm gingerbread. And you're member.
Cannot remember.
Let's go.
Yeah,
I think I look like
His name.
Somebody make me.
very good easy.
Hey, you're lucky, Coach. You got the two best gingers in this school in the class.
You're like a ginger high.
No.
Because you're not really like red, like Chandler's redhead.
He's
Like
orange.
gingerbread is a straight up, like he's straight up redhead. He just really is. Like you're kind of like a strawberry blondish.
You should sit there and sit in the sun for a while. It gets like
Daddy,
kinda
your
like
hair
that.
used to be
You see me
red.
in the
Now
sun, it
it's like
shines.
Yeah, now you're like you're a hopper. You're a day walker.
Still ginger ale.
Okay, we can roll that. We can roll that. All right, flip in your book to page 350. We're still talking about systems of equations. We're still talking about systems of equations, but now we're going to solve it using elimination. We're not solving what? Page 350. All right. Let's see. $350. Let's see. Will, you see where it says key concepts solving by elimination? On page 350. Read steps 1, 2, and 3 for me, good sir.
Step 2, add or subtract the equations eliminated one variable to solve the equation. Step 3, substitute equations. Step 2, include the equations and solve for the other variables.
Okay, so step 1. Now, in my opinion, this is the easiest method to solve. All right? In my opinion, we've used the hardest two equations to solve a system. Now we got the easy one. So step 1, we are writing the system so like terms with the same or opposite coefficients are aligned. What's a coefficient? The number in front of the variable. Okay, we're good. What does it mean to have the same coefficient? It means they're the exact same. What does it mean to have an opposite coefficient? Well, how? No? You what? Look at you. I see you working. Alright, they have opposite signs. So if I've got an x and a negative x, those are opposite coefficients. Does that make sense? Alright, so step 2. We'll just add or subtract the equations. So you're just going to add them up. You want one of them to cancel. You want one of the variables to cancel itself out. And if one of the variables cancel itself out, how many variables are we left with? 1, so we can solve for that. Alright, then we'll just plug it back in. It's like step 3 didn't change. Once you solve for a variable, you just plug it back into the other equation and solve for the other variable. Step 3 is always going to be the same. Everybody have everything that's on this board that they need.
Yes, sir.
So, number 1. Example 1. We have 4x plus 6y equals 32. And we have 3x minus 6y equals 3. Okay. Our variable coefficients?
Yeah.
Yes, which one? No.
Negative 6 y. No,
Six
no.
Y's.
It is that. Okay.
They're opposite.
Oh, negative.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Now we're cooking with grease. All right.
There's pi.
If you have opposite, if your variables are lined up and you have a variable with opposite coefficients, go ahead and add the equations. We just add them together. When I add them together, the y's will cancel. Agreed? Agreed. 4x plus 3x is 7x. 32 plus 3 is 35. That does not plus 35, but it equals 35.
Yeah, plus 35. Can we put that?
5 by 7.
Gives you 5.
So your x equals 5. Guess what you're going to do with that 5?
Plug it back.
Plug it back in. Which equation? Don't matter.
Either,
Either one. Either one. Pick one.
whichever float you go.
Pick one.
4x plus 6y.
4x plus 6.
All right, we're going to pick the hard one. I like it. So I'm going to say 4 times 5 plus 6y equals 32. 4 times 5 is 20. Plus 6y equals 32. Subtract 20. 6y equals 12. Divide by 6. So y equals 2. What's your ordered pair?
2.
5, 2. 5, 2. And you're done. I know, it's the easiest way, in my opinion, it's the easiest way. Well, it'll tell you. Solve this system by elimination. Solve this system by substitution. Solve this system by graphing. That's what it'll say. Now, on the test, they're going to all be word problems more than likely.
What?
Yeah.
Word problem?
Show enough.
No, it's
Absolutely.
What horrible word problems.
Look, we can't do it.
I am terrible at
Yeah,
work.
you can. Let me tell you a secret. Let me tell you a secret about math. Let me tell you a secret about it real quick. Math relates better than anything else, better than any other subject. You know why? Because what is your life? Your life is a word problem.
My life is a problem.
Your life is a word problem. You're right.
Full of problems. Like this.
Your life's actually a fable.
Well, that's terrible.
Okay? So we're going to work word problems on a consistent basis. No. No. Today you'll have, I think, 6. You got 12 problems today. So. Okay, what I would like for you to do, attempt 1B on top of page 351. I told you, if you don't get it right the first time, it's not, it's okay. I mean, not always, but right now it's okay. Here we go, I'll put it on the board. Read it to me.
4y plus 3x equals 22. 3x minus 4y equals 14. How do you do it?
I don't know. I said attempt. I have no idea how to do this
So you
one.
have to move stuff around.
I have 0 clue.
You have to move stuff around.
You tell me, what's step 1 say?
I don't know.
Write the systems of like terms with the same or opposite coefficients on line.
That's nice.
I got this. Oh, yes.
Can we just switch the 3 and the 4?
Do what?
Can we just switch the 4y and the 3?
As long, you can, as long as your assignments stay the same.
Well,
Which one? Yeah. Tell me this, does 3 plus 5 equals 5 plus 3?
what? Say that again one more time.
Does 3 plus 5 equal 5 plus 3?
Yeah.
Yes. So you can move it around.
Boom.
negative 6y. So when you add the equation together, y's cancel 4x plus 3x is 7x. 32 plus 3 is 35. If 7x is 35, divide by 7. Get x equals 5.
Boom shot. Hey, did you just knock my book off?
Did I?
Why?
How?
What? Yes, ma'am. What? Yep. Why you whispering? You don't
Hey,
care.
you know what happens? You get a real pencil.
Oh.
That fake one's not gonna cut it.
What?
Ticonderogas
What? Can you?
and or Papermate.
No.
Ticonderogas are better, but here's the deal. If you're balling on a budget, go Papermate.
Get some colognes and some musky, baby. That word.
Musk. Must is worse than musk. Must is worse. Musty's way worse. No. Must. Are we done? Are we done? Are we done? Are we done?
Yes.
All right.
No, I'm serious.
So, tell me this. The step one, your step one tells you to line up your variables. Are they lined up?
No.
No, so you have to line them up yourself. How would we do it?
Bring your 4 over and it'd be negative.
Why would I use this one?
It's easy.
It's easier because they're both positive.
Right.
Just switch them.
Yeah, no negative. You don't know what you're talking about.
So you have 3x
Oh,
plus
you did the
4y
bottom?
equals 22.
Did you do the
And
bottom?
3x minus 4y equals 14. Now, do you have your variables lined up?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Do you have variables with the opposite coefficients?
Yes.
Sir.
Which one?
4y minus
Or the y's. So if I have both of those two steps accomplished, I can add the equations. When I add them, the 4y's cancel. I get 3x plus 3x equals 6x.
What you did?
Yeah, coach.
I know. I can do calculator for you out. 22 plus 14,
Oh.
36.
Yeah.
Divide by 6.
6.
You get that x equals 6.
Stuff it in.
Which one you want to plug it into?
3x minus 4y equals 4.
Well,
I plugged it into the hard one.
I
'cause I got hard.
put it to the
Now.
bottom one.
I'm just kidding. I plugged it into the easy.
all right? Either way, listen, you get 4y. Shh, hold up. Plus 3 times 6 equals 22. So 4y plus 18 equals 22. Move the 18 over. 4y equals 4. Divide by 4. And y equals 1. What is your ordered pair?
6, 1.
6, 1.
And we're done.
There's your answer.
Oh my God.
Okay. Now, if you look on page 351 right there in example 2, this is, I wouldn't necessarily classify this as a word problem, even though there's words in it and it's a problem. Okay? You could, but this is more just reading comprehension than it is anything. All right? Because what is it telling you to do? It says write and solve a system of equations. All right? The words are going to tell you how to set up your system. You have -3 times a number. Does it tell you what number?
No, you just put X or.
No, so that's your variable. If it doesn't tell you what number it is, that becomes your variable. So if you look down below that, -3 times a number, -3x. Then it says plus. So you know what you're going to do? Add. All right? Then it says 5 times another number. Does it tell you what 5 is multiplied by?
No, it don't tell you the number, so that becomes a variable, and it has to be a different variable than the first one. So y. And then it says is negative 11. Is represents equals. So our first equation is negative 3x plus 5y equals negative 11. Is everybody golden on that part? Well played.
Yeah.
All right, the next equation says 3 times the first number. Well, what was the first number we used in the top equation? What was the variable that we used? X was the first one. So guess what? It's going to remain the first one. So we have 3x. Then it says plus. That's what you're going to do. So you have 3x plus. And then it says 7 times the other number. Well, the other number was represented by what variable? Y. So you have 3x plus 7y so far. Then it says is negative 1. Everybody see that? It means equals negative 1. Alright? Then what do you have? A system. Then how are we going to solve this system? Elimination. We're going to use elimination. Yes. So, what I would love for you to do is work number 2 in the guided practice. Work number 2. Work number 2. Not work at all. Reading comprehension. Reading comprehension. You don't know. You've never done something. Don't sell yourself short. Too fast.
Don't tell us, Jared.
Extra book? Partner up with someone. I've got more books coming.
Hey, I got it. I feel good.
Big time.
Look, dude, I don't know where to get these where from.
Looks like
Wait, do we get a paragraph? And I won't get it up.
there's one.
A big one?
Not necessarily classified as big, but it's bigger. I wouldn't classify it as big, but it's bigger. Who's still working? Continue.
What's the longest word problem you've done? How long was it?
Now 4, the whole class will work on.
Nine.
We had to set up.
What did he do? Like,
We had to use CAS, computer algebra system, and it asked, it was basically, I don't remember the exact question, but we had to give an hour-and-a-half presentation at the end of the semester about, with using the computer algebra system. So it was like a ball leaves, it was a baseball ball, and it was a ball leaves the pitcher's hand with an initial velocity of something. And then it says, at contact, the ball left the bat with the initial velocity you had to take the computer out and make it grass. And you had to show the ball. So you had to create like a circle for the initial ball. You had to show the ball coming in at the initial velocity. You had to have a line that would swing. It would make contact with the circle. And then show the angle. And then you had to make the arc for the ball. Then you had to make the fence at a certain distance away. Yes, you know, fun. There's only two of us in there. Me and this other girl. There's only two of us. Really? Yeah. Then we had to present it.
I did last year. Now I'm here to just record. Yeah, I have this program that I made last year. And he was the only teacher that
Still working.
up on it. It's a program to see about my classes going.
Yeah, hey coach.
So I would
I
do
just think that, I think my brain would come down.
like every
Well played.
one of the class periods that
You're gonna let Hunter and Jake do the backflip thing?
I told him I don't care as long as Coach Colbert don't care. I think it's
on
awesome.
Facebook.
That's great.
What?
Hunter and Jake's gonna both do backflips when we come out of the.
And now I put my class. Facebook.
I can do it. I want to translate it. Jake will do
That's
it.
very
I broke my
Jake
shoe
will
one
do
time
it.
with a backflip.
Cartwheels, backflip.
I broke my shoe one time.
Especially male cheerleaders.
You what?
It was still
Especially male
backflip.
College,
I
maybe.
can see the food.
Yeah, that's not Halo.
Look, this is how it looks like. I did it and flew over to the side. And smacked
All right, we ready to roll. Number 2. Like what? Here's the big problem. Why so